Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Now, since the World of Warcraft's inception, 2004, we've done some pretty crazy things on the game, amazing and bizarre alike. And normally when something happens, we preface this with the term, only in the World of Warcraft. Well, today folks, I bring you, only in the World of Warcraft can WoW players hate on WoW players for liking WoW. Oh dear. And if you do like this video, please click the subscribe button and also the bell icon next to it to absolutely make sure you get notifications about when my videos are going to be released. So, let's get into this mire. So in October of 2016, I took a year off the World of Warcraft, and in November of 2017, I didn't actually have any intentions of watching that year's BlizzCon. I was taking a dinner break from my streaming session, and suddenly across the airwaves, I heard about the news of WoW Classic coming back, and I was absolutely bamboozled. I couldn't believe it. Blizzard had finally listened to their audience and decided to release classic servers. And it got me so excited, literally so excited, so hyped up. I came back to my YouTube channel, HeelvsBabyface, because I really wanted to discuss this. I actually returned back to the current product again because I was so enthused I thought I'd throw myself back into the World of Warcraft and get myself all lubed up and ready in anticipation. When I did my videos around this time, I made things abundantly clear. The reason why I was returning to the current product was actually because of my excitement at the release of Classic WoW. And in terms of what I thought about the announcement for Battle for Azeroth, at BlizzCon at least, I thought to myself, well, it looked alright. I mean, it didn't blow me away, and it certainly didn't repulse me in any fashion, but it was just there. What got every bit of me excited was about the release of the classic servers. And this was a wave that absolutely flew over the WoW community. There were so many people excited for this, so many people hyped for this, and also people who didn't necessarily have any thoughts and feelings about playing the classic product being suddenly offered the current product as well as now the classic product whenever it would release. Now, I started to notice something over the course of the next few weeks when I started to make some videos about my classic experiences, when I started to make some videos about current product versus classic product. And those videos are really made not as a damning indictment necessarily on the current product, but more of a look how different the game is. Look how things have changed so dramatically from one to the other. And why, of course, because of this dramatic change, there's probably a good reason for you to check it out, come what may. And suddenly I started to notice a build-up, and a build-up of, I don't know if it's envy or hatred or whatever it may be within the WoW community. And at the time, I'm going to say December of 2017, I was going to start to make a video about it, but I decided to back off. I thought, oh, wait a minute. Okay, maybe people are a little bit butthurt because they're into the current product, they didn't necessarily experience the classic product, they're hearing all this classic fanfare, lots of people excited, lots of people hyped. Not that many people at the time were really talking about Battle for Azeroth. They were talking about classic coming back, yada 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 yada. And so maybe it's a little bit of expansion envy, or whatever you want to call it. So I decided to leave it. But over the course of the next several months, we're now through January, February, March, April, middle of May currently, and since the announcement, approximately 7.5 months or so, this swelling seems to have actually grown. And we actually have active people in the World of Warcraft who are now hating on active people in the World of Warcraft for liking and wanting to play the World of Warcraft. As I said earlier, only in the World of Warcraft. So, is it jealousy? Is it a defense mechanism? Well, let's put jealousy aside. Jealousy is an emotional response. No one on the internet gets emotional. Okay, I joke. But is it a defense mechanism? Are these people running to the defense of the current product? Are they scared or concerned that the current product is going to suffer because of the release of the classic WoW servers? Well, the simple fact of the matter is, the vast majority of people that I've spoken to personally, fandom-wise, professionally, in terms of classic and current product, the vast majority have stressed to me they are looking to play the classic version of the game. They're also looking to play the current version of the game. And even I have stressed this in videos. I have said to people that you can go and play the classic WoW, whereas you're going to be involved in probably a lot more grinding, a lot more difficult content. Dungeons are going to be an experience and a half compared to what they are now. All this kind of jazz. And if that kind of bores you a little bit, or if you get a little bit burnt out, then you can always just turn to the current product for a little bit. And then the current product's going to be there with a big hug of quality of life improvements. So you've got your auto loots, and you've got your this, and you've got your that, and you've got your portals everywhere and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. You've got your flying, yada, 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 yada. So if you go back to the current product, you've got all of that waiting for you. So it doesn't look, from at least the people I've spoken to, and I have spoken to quite a lot, that people are looking to abandon the current product to play Classic. It looks like they are bringing in, or going to try to bring in, Classic WoW to the existing product. So therefore, the current product doesn't really need defending, because people aren't really going to be leaving if that's the case. Now, obviously, anything can change. People could be so enamored by the classic servers that they just absolutely spend all their time on it, and the current product gets a little bit neglected. But that could also act in response. People could flock over to Classic and be like, whoa, no, maybe in 2004 this was good, but in 2018, thanks, but no thanks. So it could work the other way as well. So getting so defensive about the current product is, well, a little bit redundant, to say the least. Then the next argument that seems to come from the people hating on the WoW people because they want to play WoW is emotion, which I just spoke about earlier. Emotion and nostalgia. Oh, you're only wanting to play Classic because it's nostalgia. Oh, you're just a nostalgia fiend. Oh, you're just living in the past. And I like the way that they are telling other people how they feel. You know, I personally, and this may just be my own internal logic, I personally think people understand their own emotions more than some internet guy smacking his keyboard in his mother's basement. Being told how you feel is very annoying. It is very annoying indeed, because you are the person who is feeling it. When I left the World of Warcraft back in October 2016, I actually asked myself a genuine question, because a lot of my criticisms of WoW had been about the dubbing down of the game. This is being dubbed down. That's being dubbed down. This is now too easy. That's now too easy. This is over-rewarding. You don't feel a sense of accomplishment, and I'm not talking about an EA sense of pride and accomplishment, a legitimate sense of accomplishment. So I said to myself when I left the current product, go play a classic server. I'd never done it before. Go play a classic server. See if the game genuinely holds up. Play the game and see whether or not it is better then. Or I could have, or just go on there and see, okay, right, yeah, this might have worked back then, but it certainly isn't working now. And when I went on to the vanilla servers, the vanilla private servers, I was just blown away at how much I loved the product. I was blown away at how different and difficult it was if you wanted to fly solo. I was blown away by how things like gold were legitimate. Money was legitimate. And not just a means to try and accrue hundreds of thousands of millions to buy mounts anymore. No, the way you had to micromanage your gold so you could buy your spells and your spell levels, because there were so many different mechanics in the game back then. And I was just blown away. Absolutely blown away at how much I was enjoying this version of the game versus the current version of the game, which to me vindicated my decision again at the time to leave the product. But I was playing on a private server, and Blizzard have been very heavy on shutting private servers down, and therefore I made the decision that I had to stop, because I understood that I could easily get swept away here. And the problem was, of course, if I got a character up to 40, 50, 60, maybe even doing top level stuff, and then Blizzard swooped in and shut everything down, then it would all be for naught. And so the best thing for me to do was to back away and just think to myself, oh man, that was very good indeed. Now that isn't nostalgia. That is actually practically testing something to see whether or not you prefer it to another. And in my eyes, it held up, and it held up very well indeed. And I think this is why there are so many people excited about the classic version of the game. We saw the popularity of things like Nostalrius and how many people were playing the game. And if you compared the numbers of Nostalrius players, which I believed at the time was a concurrent 800,000, to what the WoW subscription was during Warlords of Draenor, which was when Nostalrius was at its absolute peak, the WoW subscription numbers were scarily low. And 800,000 people is massive in comparison. Now, these 800,000 people who are concurrently playing, not just signed up to the product, there were over 1 million people signed up to Nostalrius, but 800,000 people playing. These people weren't just playing for shits and giggles, they weren't just playing for nostalgia, they were playing because they were enjoying the product. Somebody then turning around and trying to negate your personal feeling by saying, well, you're just living in the past. You're just living in a nostalgia. It's just a way for them to try and belittle you and nothing more. It's a way for them to try and justify to themselves why you would like something above what they like. And this is another aspect which we're going to go into now. And again, I've discussed many times the binary nature of the internet. You say that you like the colour red, you're suddenly besieged by people saying, why'd you hate the colour blue? And I didn't say that, I said that I liked red. Well, you said you liked red. Ergo, you must hate blue. Well, no, not ergo. I'm just talking about... Anyway, that is the nature of the internet. Things have to be black, white, yes, no. And so there seems to be a binary element filtering into the World of Warcraft. You cannot like the current product and the classic product alike. You must choose. Why? Why do you have to choose? You don't have to choose at all. You can choose to play one or the other, sure. You can choose to play both, though, as well. And as mentioned earlier in the video, of course, that seems to be the general consensus from the vast majority of people that I've spoken to. When I was on Allcraft the other week, and I think it was Asmongold that said to me, he said, when Classic comes out, are you gonna play both or just Classic or what? And I said, I'm most likely going to be playing both products. And everyone's just like, yep, same. Same. You don't have to make a singular choice. You don't have to say, I can only play Classic or I can only play the current product. You can choose to do whatever you want. So is there also an element of fear? And the element of fear being that Classic might really show up the current version of the game. And this one can be really subjective to its answer. But what I will say is people join the World of Warcraft all the time. I don't know in what numbers they start the game brand spanking new anymore, but players come, players join, players leave. And so you speak to people who say, well, my first expansion was Mists of Pandaria. And you speak to people who say, my first expansion was Warlords of Draenor. My first expansion was Cataclysm. My first expansion was Wrath. People joining in at many different segments of the lifespan of the World of Warcraft. And so they are so protective about the version that they joined at, or they're so protective about all the expansions which have come since, because that is their World of Warcraft. Not Burning Crusade, not Wrath of the Lich King, not Vanilla. Their version of the World of Warcraft, whichever expansion they started up from, Cataclysm, Mists, WoD, Legion. So is there a fear that they are going to be shown up, or their version of the game is going to be shown up as inferior to the past version? And of course, there are multiple connotations which go along with that. When something from 14 years ago is better than something 14 years later, then you have to kind of like scratch your head and say, okay, what kind of went wrong? And other things like that. But again, like I said, that is subjective. Whether you think it's inferior or superior is subjective. That's a personal decision that you as an individual make, and therefore you can't make a sweeping statement. I mean, you can make a sweeping statement, but you know, it doesn't necessarily make the sweeping statement correct. So the thing is here, the conclusion to all of this is we are one community. The WoW community is a one community. Sure, it's broken up into various factions. It's broken up into Horde and Alliance. It's broken up into Warlocks, Mages, Paladins, Rogues, etc., etc., etc. There are different factions splitting, splinter cells, going off in all different directions. But we are all part of one singular community. Having people hating on people wanting Classic because they want to play the game which you're playing is beyond ridiculous. It is beyond stupid. Because without Classic, you wouldn't even have the product you're playing today. Remember where you came from, son. Remember where you came from. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up. And also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.